Welcome to Tahiti. This is the Tahiti Wha'a airport.
Hello Captain, we are ready for pushback.
Yes, and our Dreamliner from Air Tahiti Nui is already prepared for pushback.
Departure check completed, bypass pin inserted.
We are flying today from Tahiti to Auckland in New Zealand with this Air Tahiti Dreamliner. It's a Boeing 787-9 and it's early in the morning.
Locking gear. Release parking brakes. Sensing push. All engines clear, start at will.
Okay, starting engines.
Ground to flight deck.
Go ahead from cockpit.
Cleared to start engines.
Roger, clear to start engines. Start both engines.
Before taxi checklist.
There are two different dialogues interfering. One comes from GSX. We got the release for starting the engines twice. The first came from GSX, the second from the QualityWings internal dialogue system. It's no problem, but sometimes a little bit misplaced. For example, I would not start the taxi checklist until pushback has finished, so we will wait for that. The ICAS animation on the second display at the right, the engine display.
Set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
It's quite nice from GSX with this French accent on French airports.
Tow truck disconnected, bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
So now we are checking our flight controls. Horizontal. Now the rudder. speed brake, and we are setting the flaps on the departure position. Here the integrated checklist. Anti-ice is not required. Recall is checked. Auto brake set to RTO, and flight controls are checked, and the ground equipment is clear. Now we can go to the next. This is again, this cockpit is unnatural dark. For example, you could not see the yoke. This is not. PMDG does it better. But the instruments are working quite well. It's light rain in Tahiti. This beautiful morning. That's quite favorable. You do not need to get up very early when living in Europe to have this beautiful morning. This is also beautiful in the European evening, and now here we are around 12 hours later. I think it's 11 hours later than our time in Europe, middle of Europe. We have to do a backtrack on the runway.
Before takeoff checklist.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
With wind coming from the north, our takeoff will start at runway 04, and then we will fly around the main island. It's a little disadvantage to take off from runway 4 considering the flight, because we are starting at the wrong direction, but it is favorable for taxiing because this does not take so much time. So you can see on the navigation display we will take off and we'll do a 180 turn. So here's our beautiful plane. This repaint was done by Gustavo Aguiar. It's really well done. So we are ready for departure. Here's our takeoff clearance.
Check thrust.
Thrust set. 80 knots.
Checked.
B1. Rotate. B2. Positive rate.
Gear up. Autopilot on.
Autopilot in command.
For some reason, the
Autopilot on.
is
Autopilot in command.
With our flight underway, I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to offer a special welcome to our quality flight flyers. You will be earning valuable
Autopilot on.
today. If you're not a member, please
Autopilot in command.
and send back. In just a few minutes, we will be beginning our complimentary
Ask the takeoff checklist.
In coach, beer, wine, and margaritas can be purchased with a debit or credit card. We apologize if we do not accept cash. In-flight entertainment available on this aircraft includes audio, video, on demand, as well as Wi-Fi. All included free of charge. The flight attendant will be coming through the aisles with complimentary tips. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the food.
Although it's an FSX scenery, the Tahiti scenery is really stunning from what I've seen. Like with this really beautiful aircraft in the foreground, it's very beautiful. The new altitude is only accepted by the flight management system after a flight level change and then changing again to vertical navigation. That should not be the case, but it's no problem that cannot be solved. But I think it's not realistic. The 777 PMDG will push the altitude knob, and the new altitude is set. The plane is climbing again. Our flight will take us around 5.5 hours, and to the right we can see the route from Tahiti to New Zealand with an ETOPS 180 certification. We are able to do this without additional airports. Air Tahiti Nui was founded in 1996, and at that time they were not allowed, they were not given a certificate for ETOPS, and so they had to use Airbus A340s. Currently they are operating 4 Dreamliners, 4 Boeing 787-9ers, and they are around 5.5 years. And they are operating in the Pacific area with only long-haul flights, and their longest is a flight from Tahiti to Paris. That was in 2020 the longest domestic flight on Earth, with around 16,000 kilometers. This was then topped by French B. They are also flying with their Airbus A350 the route to Paris and back. Here we are now flying over the Pacific on our way to New Zealand. One peculiarity on this route is that we are crossing the date border. So we are starting in the morning of the 5th October and will arrive our destination at noon the next day, the 6th of October. Flying back will be a little bit more strange, because then we will start in the afternoon of the 6th October and will arrive in the evening of the 5th October. So we will travel back in time concerning the date. It's not really, it's only because of this date border. We are descending now for our arrival in Auckland. We are near our
2500.
final approach, and the surface appears through the mist. Gear down. Cannot see. Oh, and there's also the airport.
Please be seated for arrival.
Speed brake armed. Gear is down, and the flaps will be set some seconds. So landing checklist completed. This is the Flightbeam scenery, Auckland. It's not entirely well blending in.
Landing checklist.
Already done. This is the Orbx New Zealand scenery on the ground. Flying manually. The airport in Auckland is one runway airport. And normally it is quite busy due to that fact.
500. 400. 300. Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Landing.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
So here we are. Reverser open, but here we have a quick exit. Vacated runway.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. At that time, please remember to check around your seating area, in the seat pockets, and overhead bins for all personal belongings that you brought off board. Please take care when opening the overhead bins, as the contents may have shifted during flight.
Welcome to Auckland. taxiing to our planned gate 8, I realize just connecting VATSIM plane hovering over the surface of the apron. So I will change this gate. We'll take the neighboring gate 6. You see, gear comes down. These things may happen when you are flying online, and someone is connecting. It may happen. But gate 6 is also good for us, and there's no other plane. On the ground, this Flightbeam scenery is very well constructed. I have some others as San Francisco and Denver, and in general I like these Flightbeam sceneries. So here we are. Set parking brake. APU is running, so we may cut off the fuel switches, fuel controls. Typical QualityWings control panel. Here wheel chocks and external power are set. And the external power is already connected to the plane. I do not like that. I want to do this by myself. Oh. Fuel switch is off. Humidification off. So APU off, as we have ground power. There's no bleed air in this plane, so some things are more simple. Now operating the jetways, or jetway, there's only one at this gate. There's the parking checklist. Set the hydraulic panel. So here we are with the radar off and parking checklist completed. Passengers may start deboarding.
Deboarding requested. Passengers deboarding starting.
Switching off the IRS systems, the emergency light. And the packs. Secure checklist completed. So the crew will also deboard. I hope you enjoyed the flight with this beautiful plane called Bora Bora, and so I will say goodbye. Perhaps see you again.